USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2015 U.S. Open Championships. We're in Westchester, Ohio. It's been a busy 4th of July, and now we get set for the final men's semifinal matchup. The defending national champions from Denver, Johnny Bravo, getting set to take on Toronto, and the GOAT unit, which is here as the 4 seed, kind of an undermanned squad, as we will get to in just a moment. But GOAT and Johnny Bravo getting set to take on Revolver, who just a few moments ago won their match with Truck Stop 15-12. And with that, happy 4th of July. Great to have you with us. Sean Kinney alongside the voice of Ultimate, Evan Lepler. And the million-dollar question coming into this men's season, how would Johnny Bravo respond following last year's prominent run to a national championship, but a program that took a serious hit as far as transition goes with the roster?
They lost a lot of important pieces. Kurt Gibson, Brody Smith, Brett Matsuka, among others. You could take the 7 guys they lost and have a pretty good line, but they still have a ton of talent. They reinforced it. 2014 belonged to Jimmy Mickle. He's still a star. We'll see how he does in 2015 without as much help.
Well, you have to tip your hat to the performance of GOAT. They have been really undermanned this week just because of injuries and situations with other circumstances as far as the roster goes, yet here they are in the semifinals.
Yeah, and it was a surprise to see them this far after they dropped a couple of games that maybe they didn't expect to lose, but they beat their rivals Boston Ironside on Universe Point, starting that final point on defense. They got the turn. Isaiah Masakeli made a juggling catch in the end zone, and with some guys hurt and other guys absent, Isaiah Masakeli has really moved into a larger role. Mark Lloyd is their star. He's out with a torn ACL. Jonathan Martin used Lloyd's absence to step up. He's now got an injured ankle. But Masakeli, a young kid, but he's got all the tools, size, speed, and throws, definitely on the verge of becoming a star.
Johnny Bravo lost a lot from last year, but they return a strong nucleus as well, highlighted by Jimmy Mickle and a program coming off that national championship.
It's been fun to watch Jimmy Mickle grow into the all-around club player. Last year, became the first guy ever to win the Callahan Award, the college title with Colorado Mama Bird, and the club title with Denver Johnny Bravo. And Jimmy Mickle, like Isaiah Masakeli, can do it all. I'm looking for him to become a little more refined. He's worked on his decision-making. That's what his head coach has stressed. He needs to improve, but he's gotten better every year.
We're ready for some fireworks here in Westchester. The final piece of the men's puzzle. Will it be GOAT or will it be Johnny Bravo? The opening poll coming up next. The 2015 U.S. Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer for Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, the sport of ultimates premier competitive experience, and by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. The first leg of the Triple Crown. Let's meet the starters. First off, for Toronto GOAT, Lindquist, Masakeli, Harris, McKnight, Reyna, Yearwood. It's been a strong start to the tournament for GOAT offensively. Nima Mostaogi has led the way as far as assists and some of the numbers that he has put up. Jimmy Mickle for Denver, one of the main cutters. Wheeler, Keegan, Morgan, Forshee, and Farrell. Craig Yeti Forshee, the handler, having a big tournament as well, propelling Johnny Bravo. It will be GOAT with the opening poll, and we are underway. Great to have you with us. It's the final semifinal, the final action of this busy Saturday in Ohio. Westchester, the setting for the 2015 U.S. Open.
No matter what happens in this game, we're going to have a fascinating matchup tomorrow. If Bravo wins, we see the game that I think everybody wanted to see in the finals and nationals last year, Bravo Revolver. If GOAT wins, then Revolver gets to try to get some revenge against the team that knocked him out in nationals last year. And Jimmy Mickle couldn't come in with a catch. Hammer over the top. Ojo.
Wide open. Remy Ojo holds it in. So off
fast.
The fingertips of Mickle, GOAT capitalizes in a quick strike. 1-0 Toronto.
Well, that was quick. Dave Hochhalter lets it fly. Bravo didn't seem to realize the game started. And Remy Ojo, who made one of the great plays of the entire tournament, a rising catch block in their pool play game that was broadcasted on Thursday by UltiWorld. You can watch the video of that on the website. Just an outrageous athlete.
And he also had the key D yesterday in the win against Ironside.
That's right, a hand block on Universe Point.
Take a look at GOAT, what they have done so far, 3-2 in pool play, which was good for second place. They had that win against Ironside, 17-16. They beat Great Britain by 2, 15-13. Took care of Columbia, 13-12. So they have found a way to win those tight matchups. 3-2, part of Pool B, which was won by Revolver. Quick strike by GOAT. Here comes Johnny Bravo for the second time.
Wow.
And look at the layout and the interception. Jeff Powell jumping the lane. And how about this start by GOAT?
They call Jeff Powell bomber.
And another quick strike. David Hochhalter holds it in, the third-year player. And don't tell GOAT they're missing some key cogs. They're out to a 2-0 lead.
Jeff Bomber Powell made a D very like this late in the game against Boston. He just wanted that disc much more than Sean Keegan did. And then Jackie Howe wearing the absent Anatoly Vasilyev's jersey.
Textbook.
Now, Jeff Bomber Powell, first-year captain of this team. He's long been an energy guy, a guy who has really taken strides the last couple of years into a larger role. And GOAT could not have asked for a better start to this game. That's back-to-back breaks in a matter of seconds. How many passes has Bravo completed in this game? They've received 2 pulls. 3 completions, maybe?
2. 2-0 Toronto over Johnny Bravo.
This really should make GOAT's offensive line feel pretty comfortable. They're up 2-0. Thompson McKnight, Isaiah Massakelli, Adrian Yearwood have not seen the field yet. Someone who did see the field when he wasn't supposed to was GOAT coach Scott Shooter Hasty, and he was charged with a technical foul, TMF.
Let's see if Johnny Bravo can get some treading on their third possession. A couple of turnovers on their first 2. Sure-handed Nick Lance. Lance looking downfield, looking for that backhand, comes back with the forehand. Fighting up top is Jimmy Mickle. Mickle thought about going deep. Instead pulls it back. Backhand floater to Forshee. And then sends a backhand toward the end zone, and Johnny Bravo is on the board.
That's about what you would expect.
Ryan Morgan able to haul it in. Morgan wearing number 19, typically the jersey worn by Ian Toner.
Early in the season, some of the jersey shipments are not in yet, so they're mixing and matching as best they can. Ian Toner on the sideline with a sprained ACL. Nick Lance, typically a D-line guy, but they got broken twice, so they throw Nick Lance on O. And again, that's what you expect from the Bravo offense. But on a night with no wind, they turned it over twice on their first couple points. Ryan Morgan with his first goal.
Morgan, a very slick offensive player. You can see his frame at 6'1", able to use his long frame, make smart choices to keep that disc moving. He's always been a great space cutter. Johnny Bravo, 4-1 in pool play. That one loss for Johnny Bravo, kind of a stunner, as we saw it early in the tournament. They had a win against Ring of Fire, 14-11.
Well, it felt like Bravo should have lost their game against Truck Stop. They were down 12-10. Truck had all the momentum, couldn't put it away. Bravo won 14-12. It felt like they should have won their game against Germany with a great comeback. We talked about it last game. They were down 8-5 at half, took a 13-12 lead, had seized all the momentum, and then Germany ran off 3 in a row. Very impressive style to knock off the defending champs. But Bravo able to take care of business against everyone else. They look good against Ring, look good against Pony. And And they won their pool despite that loss to Germany. There was a situation on Friday, Sean, where we could have had, heading in the last round, if things had worked out properly, we could have had 4 teams in a tie for first at 3-2. And I'm not sure what kind of mathematician they would have needed as Massett Kelly breaks free, but there was a call and a pick on the field.
Pick called, so no score awarded. Saw
Hey,
that
did we have a
opening
stall on
pole
that?
go out of bounds, so great starting position for Goat.
In on 4. So it'd come in on 3. Coming in on 2.
Thompson, the observer's voice. Excuse me.
No, excuse me. Thompson McKnight, the primary handler forever and ever for Goat. Guarded by Will Lockey.
McKnight in his 7th season with Goat. 2-1 lead for Toronto. They've touched the disc twice. Here's a long hammer toss. Jump disc, and look who skies up to grab it. It's Massett Kelly. Oh, on the hammer throw down toward the end zone. Massett Kelly comes down with it. They're not scoring, but they're scoring quick.
Yeah, this throw from Andy Octoloni was I've been playing this game for a really long time. I'm just going to launch it throw. But when you got guys like Massett Kelly in the end zone, great receivers can make bad throws turn out all right. Wow. And he's got all the tools to be a star, Massett Kelly.
You mentioned the injuries. No Mark Lloyd for Goat with the torn ACL, the 2-time Ultimate Canadian Player of the Year. And here's a young man with Massett Kelly that's going to have to step up his offensive game like he has this weekend. Already 16 tallies for the 23-year-old.
And I mean, he's been a U23 guy, played in the international scene, representing Team Canada. It's certainly part of that next wave of Canadian studs. That was the type of throw right there where you start to think it just might be Goat's night. Now it's 3-1, it's very early. But that, you know, it was a throw that Andy Octoloni, I'm sure, probably has thrown more often in recreational summer league than he has in the semifinals of a major tournament.
Here comes Johnny Bravo, Forshee. Down a couple early. Johnny Bravo getting stunned in this semifinal. Ben Laurie has it. Laurie looking to go backhand, being forced that direction. Skips it over to Ryan Morgan. See the tight mark being applied by Ellis. Count on, finally able to get it ahead to Mickle.
What a matchup this is, Ojo on Mickle.
Took the words right out of my mouth. 2 explosive players. McKnight finally able to find an option. Johnny Bravo can be a quick strike team, taking their time this trip down the field. David Wheeler.
If you squint, David Wheeler looks a little bit like Kirk Gibson out there. Skinny number 7 running around.
Ojo just missed it. That opened up Mickle, which opened up the final pass connection to Ryan Farrell, and Johnny Bravo able to light it there, 3-2. Split second late.
Enough pace on that throw to get it past Ojo, and Ryan Farrell. Another one of Goat stars that's not talked about as much as Mickle. Farrell was a representative of Team USA at the World Games in 2013 in Colombia as well. Longtime captain of Bravo. He's taken a little bit of a leadership backseat. Mickle, Ream, and Conquer are the captains, but make no mistake, Ryan Farrell still will leave his fingerprints all over the strategy of this team. And you know, I remember seeing Ryan after they won the title in Frisco last year, and you know, it was just a career accomplishment. You know, he played high-level college ultimate at William & Mary, moved to the Rocky Mountains, and to get that club title, you know, words can't put into the feeling that you have.
Incredible run for Mickle last season. You mentioned Farrell, the Farrell brothers on the team, both Ryan and Matty. What a Perfect job last year in the Nationals defensively. They certainly picked up a lot of press for the way they play. 3-2 Goat with the lead and with the disc in this first half.
Aside from Mark Lloyd, and there's a foul. Massett Kelly called a foul on Stanley Peterson. No Mark Lloyd, no Jonathan Martin.
Contested. Okay.
Contested foul. Massett Kelly will keep it. Goat is also playing without Derek Alexander, who's probably their most valuable handler, along with Thompson McKnight.
See number 81, Adrian Yearwood. He has been active. 9 assists, and there's a turnover. Turnover created by Johnny Bravo, so chance to tie it up.
Henry Conkers had a really good tournament. One of the new captains of Bravo. Excellent handler defense. That was one of the keys last year at Club Nationals, the handler defense. Just putting pressure on teams in the backfield.
Pavel Yanis, one of the Johnny Bravo handlers in this situation as they get set after the call. Trying to break free, they're going to dump it to him. And a drop. Unforced mistake, you don't see that too often from Lance, but let it go right through his fingertips and right back to Goat. Massett Kelly. Off to Yearwood. Yearwood forced toward that forehand side. They'll go center of the field. Massett Kelly turns, makes the catch.
And nice recognition by Yearwood as Lindquist streaked deep. He took an extra man, and now they're sending Yearwood, but a better read by the Bravo defender.
Terrific defense there by Clore. That's 2 Ds in this first half as he was able to get his right arm up extended in time.
Not great recognition that they had the help side defender nearby in position to make a play.
Evan Padgett trying to jumpstart this offense. Gets it to Conker. He floats it along the far side. They come back to the center of the location with Conker. Backhand spin up ahead to Nick Lance. Like this matchup with Lance and Massett Kelly.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And the pass is intercepted just beyond the reach. And a turnover for Johnny Bravo. Some early mistakes for Johnny Bravo, and let's see if it comes back to bite them tonight and prevent them from making an appearance in the finals tomorrow.
Fans wanted Harris to unleash the hammer. He thought better of it wisely.
This is Lindquist. The count on, getting it to Yearwood, has a runner downfield, and it's picked off. Oh, what a good read, good recovery by Yanis when it looked like Goat was going in for the score. Timeout taken by Johnny Bravo as they try to get some type of resemblance here of the offense that a lot of fans have enjoyed watching over the past couple of days. Look at this break here by Yanis.
And Yearwood thought he could sneak it through, but Yanis cut off the angle nicely. If Bravo scores here, Goat has wasted Bravo's sloppy start to this game.
You have a team down, you just can't let them keep getting back up, and Goat has had a chance here. They took advantage of the first couple of mistakes really quickly, but they have let a couple of possibilities as far as expanding the cushion go by the wayside.
You know, timeouts are interesting things because sometimes you call a timeout to primarily discuss strategy, and sometimes there'll be a point with 5 turnovers like this one, and you just want to give your guys a little bit of a breather. You call a timeout here. This is much more of a, catch your breath timeout, so you can run hard on these next cuts and not turn it over carelessly again. There's Bob Cryer getting ready to go to London. He's the head coach of the U23 Open team.
Cryer in his 5th season, spent 7 years as an assistant at Colorado. Terrific job in the Centennial State, building the tradition, the rich tradition, sustaining it, hitting the peak last year with the national championship.
And you know, it ended well for Bravo last year, but it wasn't the smoothest season. There were some growing pains in terms of integrating all their new talented pieces into the fold. There was some tension, there were some disagreements. The Florida contingent wanted to do things one way. The mainstay Bravo guys want to do things the other way. A couple of guys sort of mediating. But it all worked out in the end, and they all got to hoist the trophy in Frisco.
And that's some of the things that kind of fly under the radar throughout the course of a long spring and summer season, is the chemistry and the dynamic personalities that are on each of these clubs. And with Johnny Bravo, a lot of people called it an all-star team last year. You had all these strong personalities, these A-types, if you will, and to see them mesh together like they did, as you mentioned, it was a roller coaster of emotions and feelings. Johnny Bravo trying to even it up. Nick Lance. Lance sends it up ahead along the side to Jackson Clore. Clore picked up tightly by Ochterlony. I believe a pick called way downfield, so this will stop the action.
It's on you. You're good, you're good.
Series of cuts, breaking free from the movement is Yanis. Yanis sends a backhand, caught near the left sideline. This is Jackson Clore. Clore goes right back to Yanis. Yanis with a hammer toss toward the end zone, jumping up and grabbing it for the score, Henry Conker. Chicago, Illinois. Conker, part of Colorado College, one of the team captains, ties it up for Johnny Bravo.
Going to be really interesting to see if the GOAT offense can counter, because after a very sloppy start, Bravo used this timeout wisely to regain its flow. Calm offense around the goal line. Conker broke three to the break side, and the easy hammer over the top. Reina could not close the gap in time.
Mention Conker in his fourth year, 26 years old, from the Chicago area, scoring his first goal today, but he entered today's semifinal leading in that goal department with Coach Bob Cryer.
I remember talking to Bob on the phone after regionals last year when they won in a Universe Point huck from Brody Smith against double wide. And I asked him, were you pleased when that throw went up in the air? And he said, no, not at all. That was not what they talked about in the previous discussion. They talked about taking care of the disc and not taking chances. They took a chance, it worked out, but that was part of the friction that Bravo endured and overcame. Sometimes the talent wins. Most of the time, the talent wins.
Lindquist natively able to get it over the top of the defense. And a pick called. So will be GOAT on the 4 count, getting the start.
It's on you.
Ryan Farrell forcing the forehand. They get it up ahead. This is Andrew Carroll. Carroll dishes to Hochhalter into the end zone for the score. Jeff Lindquist jumps across the stripe. And GOAT holds serve, 4-3.
An important hold there, right there for GOAT. And throughout the tournament, they've relied on that offensive unit. You know, Masick Kelly, Harris, McKnight, Yearwood, Lindquist have done a lot of the heavy lifting. Andrew Carroll has played mostly defense, but since he was not on the field the previous point, he came on here and helped lead the offensive line down the field. Lindquist has been a world-class player for a while. a stalwart on Team Canada. Just very steady. It's weird. Goat needs a D to convince me that they're back in control of this game. Even though they're ahead 4-3, I still feel like Bravo is in the driver's seat with the way they overcame just their very sleepy start. First 4 points.
Johnny Bravo, control, David Wheeler. Gets it over to Sean Keegan. Keegan, the captain of Truck Stop a couple of years ago, relocated to the Denver area, found a home with Johnny Bravo. Deep downfield, Huck looking for Forshee, and Yeti goes up and makes the grab. Using that big size at 6'2", 185 pounds. He has been a goal machine this week in Westchester.
Yeah, he's a powerful cutter. And he moves with conviction. He's got great disc skills, can go up and get it. That was an easy turnover-free point for Johnny Bravo. Jimmy Mickle throws the disc with as much confidence as anybody. Didn't take long for Jimmy to transition from college to club.
Typically, when you talk to athletes in Ultimate, when they make the transition from that college to club level, what are the biggest adjustments that they tell you they have to make?
I mean, you're playing against better players, obviously, and you're playing against more experienced players, too. But we've gotten to the point where the top college players have typically transitioned into being stars at the club level. I mean, watching Jonathan Nethercutt this week, he was a guy that Ring relied on completely and totally. You could say the same about Bravo and Jimmy Mickle. You could say the same about Dylan Freechild, Callahan winner a couple years ago.
Is that a trend that has changed from, say, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think the college game has gotten better as more and more youth players have played the game at a younger age.
Backhand Huck downfield, Goat trying to counter, and they snatch it in. Nice job there. Lindquist has been active in this first half. Jeff Lindquist, one of the veterans of this Goat program, able to run it down.
Lindquist has alternated this weekend between wearing number 9 for Derek Alexander and between wearing 89, Mark Lloyd's number. And he's representing Derek well with this catch.
I was going to say, looks a lot like Derek Alexander there.
So a couple good offensive holds for Goat.
A tournament like this, so early in the season, can only benefit a team like Goat when they get Alexander back. Obviously, Alexander and Lloyd, one of the best 1-2 punches last year, really got Goat out of some offensive jams. But for these guys to come together, perform like they have this week without some of the star power, only going to bode well for them as we go deeper into the summer by the time we hit October and the all-important nationals.
I'll add Trevor Henry, Toli Vasiliev, 2 excellent defenders, both veterans of the team. Vasiliev in particular, who I feel like he's just gotten better and better. Huge part of the heart of the D-line that they've been without this weekend.
Entertaining first half, a tight one, as Goat continues to lead 5-4. Johnny Bravo. Lobbing it up ahead, making the grab. Coming to a stop is Ryan Farrell. Then he hucks it toward the corner. Jump disc, and it's caught on the deflection. A sliding grab by Keegan. Oh, my. It looked like it was Morgan's, and then Keegan out of nowhere comes down, wipes off some grass, and a big catch for Johnny Bravo.
I think Morgan was going to call a foul on Jackie Howe, who closed the gap well. Farrell let it fly. Look at the distance Howe made up here. May have been a foul, but doesn't matter. We won't know if the call would have stood because Keegan stayed with the disc the entire time. That was Andrew Carroll's man. It's tough to blame Carroll for that. He wasn't involved in the play, but neither was Keegan, and he got there.
Keegan, normally known for his leaping ability, his above-the-rim skills, if you will, but he was able to show off his athleticism. Stayed pretty close to the ground there as he skidded over and made the catch. Smiles all around from Farrell and company. He was the one who let that disc go. And Johnny Bravo ties it up at 5 apiece.
Talked last game on Revolver Beat Truck Stop about the best D-line throwers, guys who can do damage with a disc after a turn, and Nick Lance is certainly in that conversation in the sport right now as one of the best.
His name popped up a few times, didn't it?
Acrobatic, explosive defender. It's a good switch there. They send Harris, Peterson chasing.
He won't catch him. It's right on the money. Maybe just short for a score. So right on the doorstep, they'll lob it in. Yearwood finishes it off, and Goat counters. So, you know, every time it looks like maybe Johnny Bravo might be getting some of that flow back that we enjoyed watching a year ago, this Goat team just continues to pound away.
It was a good switch. And Stanley Peterson is not typically a guy you want to test, but that was a perfect put from McKnight. Harris, a reliable target. Yearwood stays with the play. And watch his form. Great balance, strong step to the right, big flick of the wrist, and he had a very tight grip of the disc. That gave it plenty of spin, plenty of float. And Harris, I think, is a better thrower than he is a cutter. So when he gets the disc in the goal line, you trust him to make the right decision.
Look at Adrian Yearwood, his 6th goal of the tournament. 25-year-old out of Toronto.
Yearwood, part of a theater company. He's an actor and a producer and a director. Works in the arts.
Goat fans have loved his creativity on the ultimate fields over the past 5 years. Johnny Bravo back down a point, 6-5 with it. This is Mickle.
Someone just lost a shoe.
I think one of the players.
It's Ryan
spotted
Farrell.
That. Yeah. So a hammer toss off the deflection. Ream gets the shoe over to the intended target there, and Ryan Farrell. Is a shoe a lot easier to hammer than a disc, do you think, or what?
No, I think it's probably harder.
Harder?
I wonder if Carroll stepped on him and helped force it off. Or if maybe Farrell just needs to go a half size smaller. Middle of the screen.
Yep, got stepped on. Smiles all the way around, the spirit of the game. 6-5 Goat with the 1-point lead. Johnny Bravo resumes possession. Jesse Ream, one of the team captains. Ream looking, gets it up ahead. Some tight defense being applied by Goat. They're forced to dump it back to Mickle. Mickle, who's been active with a couple of assists in this first half, sends it right side to Farrell. And some contact, and I believe. Let's jump into this conversation. Traveling was the call. Started up after the violation.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Yep, stalling 1. It's on you.
Now we've seen Goat with some interesting switches defensively. There, Powell was on Mickle, switched to Farrell with Carroll picking Mickle up. It's a decent switch. Carroll's got the speed to stay with Mickle, but I think they'd rather have Powell on him from a size standpoint. Well, Carroll might be a fraction of a second faster than Jeff Powell.
See the blue card, the TMF here on Andrew Carroll, some contact with Mickle.
I don't think it was anything malicious, but maybe too aggressive on the mark.
With the team misconduct foul, you see the explanation, and Evan just kind
Stalling
of
one.
speculating on that. What do you think could have caused that call there?
Maybe too aggressive on the mark. They might have gotten a warning and called it. I don't think they're too angry about it. 50-50.
And a break there, a possible break as Goat gets the turnover, leading 6-5 as they hustle downfield, looking for a possible transition opportunity, but Johnny Bravo gets back. So a turnover by Denver and a break opportunity for Goat. See the layout attempt by Johnny Bravo trying to get it back. Here's a huck downfield. They have a man open, jumping up, snatching it, Jeff Powell. And Goat has a 7-5 lead.
I don't think Powell was the target Hochhalter was seeking there. Here's the turnover first. Powell went up over Farrell, got a finger on the disc to knock it away. Used his size against Farrell instead of Mickle. I think this is just an inside break looking for the under, but the disc sailed. Certainly an unorthodox deep shot if it was intended for Powell. I think he just wanted Howe underneath. Maybe not. Regardless, it worked out. Jeff Powell's had a heck of a game. The D in the very first sequence. He banged up earlier this spring, but he certainly looks healthy now.
One of those guys that when you look at Jeff Powell, if this was a physical game, he would be a physical player. He just has that stature about him.
He's kind of a bear out there.
He is.
Eager to mix it up.
So a 7-5 lead for Goat over Johnny Bravo in this first half. And Evan, let's kind of push the stop button, rewind a little bit, and go back in this first half. And if you're Johnny Bravo and head coach Bob Cryer, what do you need to do here? This thing's not going as planned in this first half.
Yeah, and for the most part, Bravo's offense is just not looking nearly as sharp as you would expect it to. I mean, yes, it's early in the season. Yes, they're missing some pieces, but everybody's missing pieces, and they've got great players, most notably number 23, Jimmy Mickle. But they just don't look crisp. They don't look in sync. And give Goat credit. I mean, they have brought the pressure. You know, Goat turned it over a few times on the same point. But for the most part, Goat has done a pretty good job at taking care of the disc.
Goat defensively, anything they're doing differently to throw that offensive game off for Johnny Bravo?
I mean, they're just playing a very aggressive style. I mean, you talked about it with Bomber Powell. Remy Ojo, an active figure. Jackie Howe. I was chatting with Mark Lloyd back in April about, who's going to take a step forward in the Toronto program this year. And he said, in practice, Jackie Howe looks like he's ready to take that next step. I mean, he's played with Toronto Union, the mixed team, for a couple years. Now joining Goat, and just, obviously lanky, fast, versatile.
Tremendous closing speed, as we saw already in this first half. And boy, they nearly got another. Johnny Bravo, safe to say, kind of on the ropes a little bit, even though it's still early, trying to lead Mickle ahead to get their star going, but the pass too far out in front. And another break opportunity and a chance to give Goat all the momentum here at halftime.
There was a call, and there looks to be some disagreement near the disc.
That's why it's important to make our calls loudly. Who called an injury? Who called an injury? Did you call injury?
I called injury.
You were picked for the pick. Okay, so you can stay. You think it's, you don't know if it's before or after the pick? Yeah.
I'm here.
The results of the play will, if the disc is in the air, we don't know when the injury was called.
The injury was called. The injury happened before the throw happened.
Okay, so that it's retroactive to the throw, so the disc comes back. Okay.
Send it back.
Honesty
Injury
from
was
Hochhalter.
called prior to the throw. The disc
Injury
comes
before
back.
the throw. Injury before the throw.
Isn't that a testament right there
Right.
to the sport?
There was an injury prior to the throw, so it comes back.
So we said, we either sub.
Huh?
We all set?
Goat.
Okay.
Goat said it comes back.
Okay.
You heard the conversation, the entire conversation with the observers. David Hochhalter coming in saying the injury call was before the release. And that's big, Evan, in the fact that, you know, the way that discussion was going, it looked like Goat was going to get control of the possession because they thought it was after the release. But Hochhalter steps in, said, nope, the injury call was before the toss. So Johnny Bravo maintains possession. Hammer toss up ahead. Mickle soars up high to grab it, and a pick downfield.
That was a really interesting sequence there. The fact that we had it mic'd up, a really cool window into the on-field diplomacy of the sport.
It's unique. You won't find that anywhere else. Johnny Bravo with control. Henry Conker, who has a goal in this one. Gets it back to Mickle. Mickle with a pair of assists. Sends it over to Lance. Lance in a 50-50, and look at the attempted save. Going out of bounds that time was Conker.
Bidding for the greatest right there. And Gord Harrison will take a timeout. Goat has the disc, trying to take half. This would be an incredible conclusion to the half for Toronto after the lull that allowed Johnny Bravo to get back into the game. Now, going back to that sequence with Hochhalter saying the injury was called before the timeout. Presumably he knew the rule that injury call stops play, and that throw after the injury call does not count. Feels like in minor league baseball lately, we've seen a lot of umpires getting calls wrong at home plate when the catcher clearly drops the ball on the camera, and they call him out. Like, can you imagine, like, the catcher being like, no, I didn't catch the ball, he was safe?
Yeah, that's what I say. It's unparalleled. That conversation we just witnessed, the 2.5 minutes between the observers, Goat, the players from Johnny Bravo, and then to have Hochhalter jump in. That is a perfect demonstration. If you try to, you know, talk about the spirit of the game, there you go. Tape that, play it for all the fans who are jumping into the sport of ultimate.
So I know you played a little ultimate during your intramural college days. This is your first time seeing it at the elite level. What have been your primary impressions of the sport this weekend?
The athleticism is the first thing that jumps out at me when you see the level of athleticism from the sideline and the speed of the game. You know, it's a sport that features a combination of power, finesse, speed, stability. I mean, it really is a compass of all those skills, and to see it has really been a lot of fun. Goat having some fun in this first half as they work it up ahead with some momentum, trying to grab that 3-point halftime lead. Again, 1st to 8, secures the halftime. Inside the red zone, a bluff on a hammer attempt. They're forcing that forehand, and they get it in there. Through a tight window, Carroll hauls it in. For Andrew Carroll, his 9th goal. And how about the developments here in Westchester? Goat with an 8-5 lead on Johnny Bravo.
At the start of the day, if you had asked me which game I thought most could be a blowout, I would have thought this game. And I would have thought perhaps that Bravo might roll over Goat. But clearly, the Toronto team has other ideas. And it's the defensive line. Jackie Howe, Andrew Carroll, Jeff Bomber Powell, David Hochhalter. These guys taking care of business, getting turns. Gord Harrison in that conversation too. And Remy Ojo hasn't even been too spectacular yet. Goat's up by 3. What a half. Goat 4 for 5 on their break chances. That's how you upset a really good team. That's not going to make too many mistakes. When you get the disc on defense and you can punch it in 80% of the time, you're probably going to win that day. And, you know, Isaiah Massakelly, he's like, you know, LeBron James on the sideline watching, you know, James Jones out there on fire. You know, the guys who are not typically the stars have stepped up for Toronto, and that's why they're ahead by 3 against a really good Denver team.
A lot of ultimate to go, but so far in the first half, it belongs to our neighbors to the north out of Toronto. Goat with an 8-5 lead here at halftime. Andrew Carroll getting that last goal to give them a 3-point lead, which matches their largest cushion in this first half. Let's go down to the field. Scott Hasty, the coach for Goat. And Scott, first off, congratulations. What a first half of action. You know, you entered this tournament a little bit undermanned as far as some of the guys, your normal roster, but don't tell any of those 19 guys you suited up for this semifinal. What a whale of a first half.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with how we started. No congratulations are due. We're not done our game yet. We got to close this one out, and there's a really good team over there in white that's not going to go down, so we're going to have to keep up with the same sort of intensity for the second half.
Shooter, I know you expect your offensive line to score, but when your defensive line gets the disc, what's the primary strategy, and how have they been able to capitalize on 4 to 5 break chances?
Right. You may have seen earlier in the tournament we had a lot of trouble. We worked on a lot of things. We had a little practice this morning, ran through some plays, and we had some trouble early on with guys cutting, not looking for the disc. Now everybody's looking for the disc, and you see it. Everybody's open. Anybody who's open is getting the disc, and we're moving it to the next guy. So that's the way we're playing.
I know Jeff Powell has always been a good player. He's gotten better the last couple of years. As he's ascended into more of a leadership role, how has that expanded his job in the team as a defender?
You know what? He's calling the Ds, calling the D strategy. He's lining up the matchups. We had a few things that we talked about coming in, but he's making the minor adjustments, and he's really the heart and soul of that D line.
What's the key to the second half?
I think is not letting up, not getting too excited. We just had a little conversation of if we feel happy at all about that first half, it's going to fade away. So we're actually angry.
Scott, good luck in the second half. Keep that anger going.
He doesn't look that angry, does he?
That's the happiest mad guy I've ever seen right there. Scott Hasty and Goat, all smiles, but a lot of ultimate left. 8-5 Toronto here at the intermission. Back with you from Westchester here at the intermission. Toronto out in front of Johnny Bravo, 8-5. Bob Cryer joins us down on the sideline. And Coach, a tough first half. What adjustments are you looking to make as we get ready for the second half?
Really, we don't have too big of adjustments. Really, it's execution. We're missing some of our switches. The deception there isn't working for us. We're leaving people open, and we're not executing some of the throws. We have open receivers, and we're not finding them. We're looking for the wrong reads.
Bob, did you feel your guys lacked intensity at the start of the game, like they weren't ready for the game to start?
I felt like we were ready for it, and then 1 or 2 things kind of went wrong, the things you don't expect, and we haven't kind of risen above that. The intensity is rising for sure, but we haven't been able to turn it up and switch the tide.
Who's the vocal leader in the huddle right now trying to get these guys fired up?
Well, we've got a couple that are good. Ryan has been a captain for a long time, so he speaks up. Nick has been in a lot of big games, so people listen to him when he speaks, and Jimmy and Henry are finding their roles as captains and saying the right things to the team.
Coach, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Bob Cryer and Johnny Bravo, Jimmy Mickle and company in some trouble here at half. They trail at 8-5, but with all the weapons, still a lot of ultimate to be played as we wrap up a busy 4th of July. Sun starting to set here in Westchester on Independence Day. Toronto out in front of Johnny Bravo by a score of 8-5. Sean Kinney alongside Evan Lepler. And Evan, you go back to the start of this game and the intensity. You mentioned it. I think the difference, the opening 2 minutes of tonight's matchup.
Well, Goat began this game with back-to-back breaks. Mickle couldn't haul it in. Hochhalter hit Ojo for the hammer. That was the first. And in the second point, Bomber Powell with a fantastic layout D. And then a quick strike up the line into the end zone again. It was 2-0. Felt like 3 minutes into the game and back-to-back breaks. But eventually, Goat's magic ran out, at least for a little while, but not before this shot from Ochterlony. Masik Kelly, that was really the only gigantic play that Masik Kelly made. It's been mostly the Goat D-line taking care of business. Bravo stabilized the ship just a little bit. Pavel Giannis had a couple Ds. Hammer to the end zone for Conker. Giannis, a former Mama Bird captain. Conker now a current Johnny B captain. But Jeff Lindquist, a solid first half. You know, after Goat's great start dissipated, the offensive line did take care of business on a few key points to hold serve with McKnight, Harris, and Yearwood carrying the weight. You know, Bravo has played hard defensively, but they haven't gotten a lot of Ds. That was a fortuitous deep shot. Powell ran it down. And later, Howe near the goal line, bluffed the hammer, and he'd find Andrew Carroll in the end zone to take half.
Momentum with Goat in the first half as you take a look at some of the individual numbers. Lindquist with a couple of goals, but they have spread it out nicely. Hochhalter, the main distributor, with the 3 helpers. Mickle has a couple of assists. And for Johnny Bravo, 5 different individuals scoring in the first half. 8-5, it's Toronto on top. We'll have the second half poll next. Welcome back to Lakota West High School. It's been a busy Independence Day here in Westchester, Ohio. We wrap up a Saturday of semifinal action. The final piece of the puzzle in the 3 divisions. The mixed field is set, the women's championship for tomorrow. And now who will face Revolver tomorrow in the finale for the finals? Will it be Johnny Bravo down 3 as Goat gets set? And the opening pole goes out of bounds. So Goat will get the disc in good shape. And Evan, let's look ahead to this second half. Let's kind of put the coaching hat. You're Scott Hasty. What was the main talk at halftime with the 3-point lead?
I mean, I think it was stay calm, but stay intense. And if Goat's offense can continue to do its thing, Goat's going to win this game. I mean, Bravo needs breaks. Goat up 8-5 and receiving the pull with the O-line here to start the second half.
They dump it to Yearwood. On the opposite side, you heard Coach Bob Cryer mention they thought they missed some shots downfield, some open looks, and that typically doesn't happen by Johnny Bravo. So really didn't sound like he needed to tweak too many things offensively, just maybe better downfield awareness.
Yeah, better awareness, and that comes with time. And we talked a lot about Goat's lack of depth and some of the guys they're missing, but Bravo is missing some key pieces too. It's a nice throw.
Perfect lead by Masick Kelly. Jump stopping ahead is Harris. Harris right on the doorstep of the goal line, looking right, coming back, forced to dump it. Back out, Masick Kelly, who put Goat in a good position with that throw a few moments ago.
Masick Kelly just used his size to get that over-the-top backhand break. He made it look really easy.
Sashin Reyna comes to it, now flips it toward the end zone, knocked away, incomplete.
I'm not sure if Farrell got a piece of that or if it just slipped out of Reyna's hands on the release.
A red zone turnover either way, and Goat misses a chance.
Feels like Goat's first mistake in a very long time. Yeah, he just turfed it.
And he had a man all by his lonesome waiting.
In fact, our statistician says that is the first unforced turnover Goat has had in the game.
Masick Kelly coming up just short on the collision with Mickle as he hauled it in. Johnny Bravo down 3, looking their first touch of the disc in this second half. A team from Denver, the reigning national champions. On the ropes here in the semis. Hammer toss toward the end zone. There's a score for Johnny Bravo. Stanley Peterson with the catch.
Reyna at one end, couldn't hit the open man to make it 9-5. Bravo works it all the way down, and Stanley Peterson has been big in big games in the past. He's going to have a big second half for Bravo as they inch within 2. That's a break.
Peterson, the youngest member on Johnny Bravo this season, defensive superstar, really a nightmare for those taller defenders. He's caught a lot of the people's attention at club nationals last year with his defensive set. And Peterson, Colorado.
Yeah, you think he's a giant because in the air he elevates. I mean, like he has springs in his shoes, but he's only 6'1". Kind of surprised, like walking by him on the sidelines this week. You expect him to be taller.
Lance gets his first helper today. So Johnny Bravo gets the point. Get the early break to start the second half, down 2 as Lance lets it go on the pull. Good high, deep pull. This will drive Yearwood back through the end zone.
Landed out of bounds, so Goat will take this all the way up to Brick. If it had landed inbounds and then rolled out, it would have taken it to the front of the end zone. Significant difference.
So on the start, Thomas McKnight. Good one-hand grab despite the contact, keeping possession. Powell. And near side to Andrew Carroll, who has a goal in this one.
It's an interesting mix of Goat's O-line and D-line after the break.
Isaiah Masick-Kelly with the flick has a wide open Carroll. He'll make the catch. 6 yards away from the front of the goal. Yearwood spins right, quick reversal, and he'll score it in. Nicely done there. Quick spin on the pivot. Lindquist cutting across on the drag, hauls it in.
Important point for Goat. Without a few of their typical O-line guys on the field, Jeff Powell and Andrew Carroll, typical D-line guys, but filling in here on the O-line, get the job done. Now, it was a couple years ago, 2013, that everybody thought Goat could really contend for a title. For the first time ever, they won the Northeast Regional. They beat Boston Ironside. They surpassed Pony. They surpassed everybody. They went into Nationals as the #2 overall seed, and things did not go all that well. They lost an early game to Minneapolis Sub-Zero, who played great. Lost to Seattle Sockeye, the eventual finalist in pool play. And it was just a disappointing run for that team that thought they could win it all. But they're better now than they were 2 years ago. Other teams have improved too, but they haven't really lost anybody from the team 2 years ago, and they've added a lot of young speed. Added more seasoning to some of their less experienced guys as well.
Club based in Toronto, but they are able to draw from Ottawa, Winnipeg, Edmonton. A lot of talent north of the border, and they have certainly had the success through the years. In the regional champs, the Northeast regional champs a couple of years ago.
And this is a big year for the Canadian Ultimate Championships. An event that for Goat might not usually mean as much as USAU Nationals, but Goat can clinch a spot at Worlds 2016 if they win Canadian Nationals 2015. So every 4 years for Goat, that becomes a much bigger deal. Held later this summer.
A lot of contact. Foresheet gets it ahead, and a foul called there as Goat was able to collide and make the quick call as Farrell was banged into by Powell.
Do you want to send it back, or do you want to come to me for a rolling? Okay.
What do you guys? You want to know what?
Oh, okay. Okay. Foul rescinded. Okay. Stalling one.
Sometimes it's better not to know, right? For the
Yeah.
observer there. Ryan
Stalling
Farrell.
one. Check it in.
I'm not a big fan of cricket. In fact, I've never actually seen it, but don't they take breaks in the middle of cricket matches for tea?
They
I mean,
do.
it feels like that's what that just was, without the tea.
Mickle sends it over to Ryan Farrell. Farrell with a flick up ahead. Soft toss, took something off it, hauling it in. Near the line is Wheeler. Wheeler dumps it back to Mickle. Tight mark. Mickle zips it wide open for the score. Let's see if it holds. I think we have a pick call. Ream in the vicinity maybe of setting that pick.
Thank you. What was the stall? Yes. Well, we're coming in on 3? Yeah, coming on 3. Is that 2? Yeah, stalling 3! It's on you.
On the tap, play resumes. Mickle tosses it back over to Farrell, right back to Mickle. Such an orchestrator in this part of the field. He'll go into the end zone for the score.
Not in yet.
Nope, just short, just shy, they say. So they've been at the doorstep a couple of times, not able to get it in. Mickle floats it. This time they'll drag the feet, keeping them in bounds. Keegan holds it. And Johnny Bravo back within 2.
A little surprised Remy Ojo didn't pull the trigger on a layout there. I think he was surprised at himself too. Watch Ojo's reaction after Keegan catches this near the goal line. The disc was floating and Ojo kind of frustrated that 1, he let that cut to the pylon get there, and 2, that he couldn't pull the trigger on a floating disc that was hovering out of bounds.
Mickle gets another assist on that play. And this Johnny Bravo team, known for their offense, but it's going to have to be their defense coming up with some stops, some Ds here in this second half to try to get that break opportunity back, trailing by 2. 3rd assist of the night for Mickle.
Started playing Ultimate when he was in high school, and he's really been on the national, even international stage since early in his college career on a variety of U.S. juniors teams, U23 teams. Wouldn't be surprised if he's on the 2017 World Games team, but a ways away from that.
Reyna and Goat leading by 2. Dump it back near their own goal line, trying to reset the attack. Goat forcing the forehand with their defensive alignment. Yearwood.
It's a good cut by Massac Kelly. Really sold the deep, forced Conker to respect it, then broke in and had a 15-yard gain.
Loney, center of the field, turning and looking. This is Lindquist. Comes back to the near side to Cam Harris. Harris with some room to work. They have the mark. Generous there. Nick Lance giving him some room. Over the top throw. Wide open for the point. It's Yearwood. Adrian Yearwood holds it in. And Goat continues to hold serve in this second half. They lead 10-7.
And the thing about Goat's offensive line is they have a lot of guys who can make tough throws. You know, they run hard, they're pretty crafty, and they're willing to go over the top, especially on a night like this when there's virtually no wind. Looking at an American flag that is stationary. Yearwood broke deep. He's quick, he's fast, he's played on Team Canada as well.
Mention these calm nights like we're enjoying in Westchester tonight. It's an offensive player's dream, not so much for the defense.
There's only been 1 turnover so far in the second half. It was 8-5 at the break. Toronto received to start the second half. Sash and Reyna turfed the disc on the goal line. An unforced turnover, obviously. The defenses have not been able to do very much, which makes you think it's going to be tough for Bravo to overcome this deficit. And if they can't, you're going to think back to the very start of this game.
Absolutely. Start of this game, before you could blink an eye, Goat had jumped out to that quick 2-0 lead.
Uncontested, stalling 1.
And Bravo has not been able to respond. When it looked like maybe they were getting their treading midway through that first half, it was Goat who finished with 3 unanswered to go into halftime leading, and they've maintained that cushion in the second half. Johnny Bravo on the start. Backhand shot, taking a look downfield.
I think a pick was called.
This will come back, a pick set around midfield.
Now Keegan's going to argue that Ojo wasn't within 10 feet.
Yes, you did. Pick called. No, it was a good pick call.
Good enough.
Hank Carey, the observer, is having himself a night.
Hands up.
He's just been on top of it. That was a good pick call.
Take his word.
Look at Ojo close.
The speed of Ojo, and he takes it away. Deflected at the last second. Ojo.
That speed should be illegal.
Showing his world-class speed there as he was able to come up and make up a ton of ground.
This is real speed.
Injury sub.
That was Keegan, the intended target. Ojo, a few moments ago, had a chance maybe
There was no call. It was an injury timeout. Injury timeout.
to do a layout in the goal line. This time he gave up the
No
body.
call. It was an injury timeout.
Maybe still frustrated from that last sequence in the end zone, but boy, he showed what he can do and why he is a human highlight reel.
He plays with such a hunger for the disc.
Comes up holding that left jaw, that left side of his face.
And he gets banged up a lot because he throws his body around. You can understand.
Oh, yeah. One more time as you take a look at it. I mean, he's 5 yards behind Keegan when he started that takeoff downfield. And then you saw the contact with the turf here. It's not a natural grass field, as you can tell, so not quite as much give, but he appears to be all right. Tough customer that has taken quite a few bruises through the years just because of the style of his play.
That was Bravo's first turnover of the second half, and there's Goat's second turnover of the second half.
Howell and Morgan got tied up, so Johnny Bravo right back with it. Nickel and company down 3. Trying to take advantage. Looking backhand. They get it to Nickel. He'll turn, forehand it right back up ahead. All called on the contact, so it will be Farrell. Smack dab in front of the end zone, trying to pull Johnny Bravo to within 2. He has Nickel flanking to the right. He's looking toward Keegan's direction. Now he goes to Nickel. Nickel giving up some ground. Quick turnaround, and it's dropped in the end zone. In and out of the hands of David Wheeler. And Johnny Bravo just making some mistakes we're not typically used to seeing.
Before that turnover, when Farrell swung it to Nickel, Andrew Carroll's mark on Ryan Farrell was one of the most active, solid marks I've seen this entire tournament. Got low, waved his arms, bounced in all different directions. Just, I don't want to say he frazzled Ryan Farrell because Ryan's calm and composed with the disc, but he just was active.
Well, a call here on the contact is to stop it. Massick Kelly calling it. 2 competitors, Massick Kelly and Nickel, colliding in the semifinals. Again, the winner to play for the championship tomorrow against Revolver. 15-12 winner earlier today. Working the near side. They'll go to the end zone with the left hand. Hauling it in for another score is Hochhalter. And don't look now, but Goats build their largest lead at 4, 11-7.
This is Goats' first break of the second half. Get the break back that they gave away on the opening point of the second.
Just taking what Johnny Bravo gave him, working down the sideline.
And this throw from Howe really needed to be perfect. There's not a huge window here. but he angled the throw well, and Farrell was beat by Hochhalter up the line.
Hochhalter with a busy night, 5-point night for David Hochhalter.
He's played a really solid game.
Out of Michigan State's program, the Edmonton, Alberta native. Jackie Howe, you mentioned his precise passing throughout the course of this game. 3 helpers. Smiles right now all the way around for Goat, leading 11-7, and this was a team, Universe Point yesterday, that were fighting for their survival with Ironside. Now look what they've done in the semifinals here today.
I think they're a team that might do better as an underdog than they do as a favorite. 2013, very high expectations, did not go as well as they hoped. Last year, very different expectations. Beat Revolver, the 2-time defending champ. This year, undermanned squad at the U.S. Open. Derek Alexander couldn't come at the last minute. Lloyd and Martin are injured.
Backhand hook. And look at the grab. Snatching it was Forshee. Or check that, excuse me, Ryan Farrell going up for Johnny Bravo. Farrell holds it in, 11-8.
It's a heck of an effort here from Mostagimi, making up the ground, showing off his wheels. And he had the angle, but Farrell read it perfectly. Ryan Farrell, the longtime leader of Johnny B, to the summit for the score. You've been asking me the questions all day. I'm curious, do you think Bravo can come all the way back in this game?
No, I don't in this. I don't think they have the defense right now to slow down Goat as far as forcing the breaks that they are going to need. We mentioned the ideal conditions tonight, and Goat shows no signs of slowing down offensively, so I would be stunned. Now, having said that, I'll put a huge asterisk by it. This is Johnny Bravo. They were down 3, I believe, to in the pool play to the Columbia team, if memory serves me right. They came back, won that 13-12, so they have the offensive firepower, but the question, can they come up with those multiple stops that they're going to need? Goat with it as they work it up. Jeff Lindquist looking toward that forehand side, swings it over to Reyna. Reyna, a little backhand tap up ahead. Now a deep shot downfield, sprinting ahead, diving, and making the catch for the score. Masick Kelly hauls it in, and a 12-8 Goat lead.
His closing speed from Masick Kelly was something else. Harris thought he put too much on it. You can see the body language of Cam Harris after he released the disc. He thought he made a mistake. Little body English to help that disc stay up, and a sigh of relief in that fist pump.
I guarantee you, Cam Harris, the first one downfield, probably to greet him on that. Masick Kelly holds it in. His second goal, 17th. In nearly 6 games for one of the leaders that Goat put a lot of pressure on this weekend with all the missing bodies to fill that offensive void, and he has certainly done that.
In terms of the fastest big guys in the sport, you know, you have Bo Kittredge, Simon Higgins moving into that category, Matt Rader from Seattle. Isaiah Masick Kelly is in that mold. You know, great size, the closing speed to make up the ground, looking like a sprinter as he hauled that disc in. Masick Kelly might not be the best thrower on his team, but he's a very solid thrower. And Andrew Carroll, he is not the biggest guy, not the strongest guy, but he plays with a toughness about him. Not afraid to mix it up with somebody bigger than him.
Yeah, he and Jackson Clore going at it. Look at Mickle making the catch at the dangerous play as he was sandwiched. And let's see if he's all right. He got caught kind of in no man's land there. He had an up-low type collision. Somebody going up, Powell going up. Was taken out down low as well.
Yeah, you know, watching that live, I don't think it was a dirty play. And watching the replay, I don't think it was either. Just sort of an unfortunate conclusion as the bodies went tumbling. I guess Gord Harrison put himself in a little bit of a precarious position, falling around Mickle's legs, but he did have a reasonable play on the disc.
That was a technical bravo, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 2.
Sean Keegan must have said something.
Yep, away from the action. Keegan did not like it. 12-8, Goat, Mickle wants the deep ball, lofts it up ahead. Jackson Clore off the deflection, stays with it, and hauls it in.
I am so impressed with the closing speed of some of these Goat defenders. We saw Ojo before, then Mostagimi, who didn't get it against Farrell. Carroll doesn't get it here either. But he made this a close play and forced the juggle. I mean, Clore had a couple steps on him. And this is a really nice throw from Mickle. He's very lucky that the disc didn't deflect away from him off his fingertips.
Clore, one of those guys who you just simply will not outwork. He spends a lot of time in the weight room in the off season. Really a physical specimen for Johnny Bravo, a leader. See, he lights the tally for the first time tonight. His 5th goal of this tournament. Another assist from Mickle, doing all he can to try to keep Johnny Bravo in it. But still looking at a very serious uphill battle. You take a look at the soft cap clock. We're approaching the 9-minute mark there. 12-9 Toronto with a 3-point lead. Here's the pull.
3 out of 4 O points in this half. Goat has scored without a turnover. Offsides on Johnny B. Defensive lineup includes Peterson, includes Yanis. 2 great Mama Bird stars. Masick Kelly, McKnight, Lindquist. Out there with Yearwood, Ochterlony, Reyna.
This is Reyna with it, jumping over and knocking it away. And let's see what we're going to have here. You saw the frustration from Masick Kelly, and he wanted the call, and looks like it will stay with Goat. Layout attempt by Johnny Bravo.
No contest, coming out 1.
Uncontested foul. Good try, just a little bit late that time was Conker. Yearwood goes tumbling behind the action. They floated up ahead, nobody out there, and it will sail incomplete. Johnny Bravo break opportunity. Let's see if they can take advantage of the turnover. They need a couple more of those. Dangerous pass, and Johnny Bravo lives to fight another day off the deflection. But we will have discussion here as Goat's going to argue it. See the opinion from Jeff Lindquist being brought forth.
After you make contact. My call is that it wasn't. I went up, and you did say you got context. It wasn't a very hard sticker catch. And you did hit me, you said.
I believe it's before, after you dropped it.
Okay.
Do you want to send it back, or do you want to come to me for a ruling?
No, like I'm catching it off my hand.
Okay. Do you want to send it back?
I'll go to the observer.
Oh, okay. My ruling, the contact on you was after you got the disc. Foul overruled. We'll stay here. Stalling 1. Hold on. Repositioning.
So they go to the observer's ruling.
Stalling 1.
Take one more look. The observer ruled that the contact was after he dropped it. It's hard to tell from that angle.
It's a bang, bang play.
From that angle, it looked like the Bravo player hit the disc and not his arm, but maybe a different angle would show differently, and Bravo punches it in.
Again, it's Conker with it.
That's a break.
12-10.
Peterson up line to Matty Farrell, and then Giannis picks up the assist to Conker.
Mention Giannis in Colorado Mama Bird, president of the Colorado Ultimate Team, one of 32 club sports on campus, local product out of Boulder High School, and representing his state. Just a young man, 21 years old, his first year with Johnny Bravo. Youngest member on their team, and a bright future ahead for him. Big defensive opportunity for Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, it's guys like Giannis and Peterson and obviously Mickle. The reasons why you still expect Bravo to be a very significant factor at the top level of the sport despite all of the losses. When you mentioned Brody and Kurt and Bart Watson, one of the great stars of the handling corps, retired after the championship last year. You know, Jack McShane, a great defensive leader and captain, left the team. They've got holes to fill.
How big's this possession, Evan?
For the Toronto offense, it could be the game. I mean, they go up 13-10. They're in a golden position. 12-11 with doubt creeping in. Very different story.
Yearwood comes to a stop. Looks over his options, nothing there. Forced to dump it back to Lindquist. They'll quickly rotate it to Andrew Carroll. He's been a defensive nemesis for Johnny Bravo tonight, really working hard with his marks. He's added a tally as well. McKnight looking for the hammer, tosses the hammer, too far out in front, and the turnover. He was looking for Massey Kelly, guarded on the play by Conker, and Johnny Bravo another break opportunity.
Very high degree of difficulty on that throw. Can Bravo capitalize? If I'm Nick Lance, I make some moves downfield here with Ochterlony on him. Lance much younger, much quicker than Ochterlony at this stage of Ochterlony's career. And he goes underneath.
Lance looking for the huck to try to pull Johnny Bravo to within one, and they do. Jackson Clore. And the men from Denver making things a little bit interesting all of a sudden.
They were down 12-10 against Truck Stop, came back to win the game. Down as many as 4 here in the second half, and now Bravo within 1. And it was Lance as the initiator. Huge outside in backhand.
We were talking earlier in the broadcast about some of the best tossers, some of the best throwers on that line. Perfect example right there from Mr. Lance as he delivered right on cue. Jackson Clore scores his second goal. It's a break for Johnny Bravo, now within 1 at 12-11. Soft cap clock inside 3 minutes at 2:45. Good timeout being utilized by Goat here and head coach Scott Hasty.
Yeah, especially, this is the 3rd straight offensive point for Goat. You want to give your guys a breather to have your top 7 O-line guys out there. They don't look like they're panicking. Very calm and composed, but also focused.
We mentioned they have played a number of close games this week. A 2-point win against Great Britain, a 2-point loss to Temper, a 1-point win come from behind against Columbia, a 1-point win against Boston Ironside. So they're used to these tight tussles. I think if you would talk to Goat before the game and tell them they'd be in this position in the second half, they'd be tickled.
Yeah, up 12-11. 90 seconds away from the soft cap. Nick Lance getting ready to pull. Conker, Forshee, Peterson, Clore. Ryan Farrell out there for a defensive point. His brother Matty is out there too, and for Goat, Massac Kelly, Yearwood, Lindquist, McKnight, Harris, Ochterlony back out there, along with Reyna.
This will be Reyna. Forehand up ahead. Controlling it, Isaiah Massac Kelly. Another strong game for Massac Kelly. Yearwood, the enforced forehand side. Flings it up ahead. Making the catch is Cam Harris. Harris looking for the dump back. I think Yearwood wants a call, and he was banged into, and he will stop the action. Ryan Farrell trying to deny that passing lane, collided with Yearwood.
Who was the foul on? I called it. But it was 4 seconds on the side. Okay. Hey.
I have no problem with the disc being here. Disc is good here.
Question.
Yeah, we're good there. What?
Okay.
I'm sorry, what's the problem?
Let's figure it out here, guys.
Offense calls foul.
Stop play, but they didn't throw it.
Was that
Didn't affect the play.
was the offense calls foul?
Yeah.
Was it before the throw?
Yes.
Got it. Thank
so
you.
the rule is that it goes back.
Okay. It's
So
going back to the throw.
The disc has to go back by rule, and offense calls foul prior to the throw.
Contest, no contest.
It's a lot of time for a little consequence. Understand you want to get it right.
Sure. Let's come on one.
Okay.
Regardless, I feel like the defensive intensity on this point has been the highest of any in this game.
Both teams know what's on the line. Yearwood looking toward the end zone, still searching. Comes back, nearly getting a hand on it was Reyna. Fortunately for Goat, it found the intended target, and a pick is called. Ochterlony nearly had that disc deflected away by his own teammate. How big would that have been? Instead, they still retain possession, leading by a point. Critical possession for Goat as they try to hold. Toss into the end zone, too far out in front, incomplete. But we have a call on the throw and in the backhand. Yearwood laid out for it. And I believe the thrower was clipped in the arm as he let it go. Take a look at Lindquist on the backside, and that wrist clipped by Johnny Bravo reaching around. Trying to react was Matty Farrell.
Okay, hey, we're good. So there's a foul call? You guys contesting or coming to me? Okay, so the foul call, my call, I couldn't see it, so we're gonna treat it as a contested call, so it's coming back here anyways. So what's this all coming in on? One. Okay, so contested, coming out one.
Goat looking toward the end zone. Do they have enough room? No, they run out of real estate. Incomplete. Cam Harris, the intended target. High risk throw for this point of the game.
Getting a little too tricky right there, a little too fancy. Dump, swing, get an easier score. Lindquist is going a little too high degree right there. Soft cap was going to go on after this point. If Bravo scores, it'll be a game to 14. If Goat scores, it'll be 13-11, game to 15. And there is no hard cap.
See the bid on the catch from Jackson Clore. Clore, he enforced the backhand, goes that route. Drag pattern caught by Nick Lance. Lance, who has a number of helpers, dumps it back out to Craig Forshee. Johnny Bravo trying to knot this thing up at 12 apiece. They were down 4 in this second half. Lance gets it to the center to Farrell. Ryan Farrell up ahead, has a man wide open for the score. Henry Conker again. You know, we've talked a lot about some of the other guys on this squad. Jimmy Mickle, Stanley Peterson, Keegan. What a second half for Concord. He's been instrumental in this comeback by Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, Bravo has done a nice job. The offense from their D-line after turnovers, but this is also true. Johnny Bravo doesn't have any blocks or Ds this half. Goat has turned it over 5 times, all unforced. Trying to do too much with a disc, making uncharacteristic mistakes. Go back to the opening point of the half where Reyna turfed it in the end zone on that last possession. Virtually no stall count after the foul. Lindquist threw it out of bounds. And from 11-7 down, we're tied 12 all, and this is a game to 2.
Soft cap in effect, so the first of 14 wins it, and a spot in the U.S. Open Championship tomorrow. Bob Cryer has to be proud of the way his team has battled back late when it looks like the chips were down for Denver. Johnny Bravo has fought back, tied it up. Goat looking to hold, and the effort from Isaiah Massey-Kelly tonight. Guys like Jeff Powell, Sashin Reyna, Cam Harris, Adrian Yearwood. The explosiveness of Remy Ojo. And it comes down to these final 2 points.
There's a great D-line for Bravo, including Farrell, Mickle, Lance, Peterson, Lockie. Ben Laurie also out there.
Yearwood on the bounce as they fire it downfield, too far out in front, incomplete. Looking for Andrew Carroll, and Johnny Bravo a chance to take the lead. Layout attempt comes up just short, giving up his body, Jeff Powell. And the pace picking up, back-to-back turnovers, a misfire for Johnny Bravo, and it goes right back to Toronto.
Toronto needs to be patient here. Take the sure thing.
McKnight sends it up ahead. Bodies going all over the place now. Lindquist will shovel toss into the end zone for the score.
Well, that first throw from McKnight wasn't the sure thing, but it worked out. When they got to the end zone there, I was thinking about Derek Alexander's over-the-top scuba to beat Revolver in the quarterfinals last year. He's wearing Alexander's jersey, and that was just a little flicky push pass.
Only appropriate, Isaiah Massey-Kelly, who has been the main offensive point getter over the past 3 days. The all-important goal late in this game is third of the night, 18 now for Massey-Kelly this weekend, and Goat has the 1-point lead.
It was hard to tell, but it looked like Lindquist was gripping that like he was going to throw a backhand, and threw a flick with a backhand grip. Well, Bravo's got to score twice in a row. First on offense. Farrell, Laurie, Clore, Mickle, Forshee, Keegan, and Morgan. The O-line for Denver. Sending Mickle.
Looking for the deep huck. Mickle trying to use his speed. He won't catch up with this one. Jimmy Mickle knows maybe a missed opportunity there. And Goat in prime position to seal the deal now.
Now, with all due respect to Sean Keegan, if Bart Watson throws that, I think it floats a little longer. If Kurt Gibson throws it, I think it floats a little longer. I mean, those are the guys that they're trying to replace. Goat with a chance to put it away.
Desperation mode for Johnny Bravo. Score here, Goat gets their ticket to the championship. Downfield, it's Ojo leaping up, making the catch. And how about the job by Goat here in the semifinals? A 14-12 win. Remy Ojo snatching it in the end zone, and you see the excitement from the Toronto Goat. What a performance tonight here in Westchester.
What a finish. Just let it rip. Ojo with defenders everywhere, and Mickle couldn't get there. That's Hochhalter with a huge flick. And Ojo looked like he was staggering a little bit on the run, didn't he?
Certainly did.
It's a good throw, plenty of float. You know, it's funny, early in that run, it looked like Mickle and Ojo were just about even. You can sort of see it from the hash mark, but Ojo might be faster than Jimmy. They're going to the finals.
GOAT Revolver tomorrow for the U.S. Open Championship as they hold off Johnny Bravo. A furious late rally by Denver, but it comes up short. And again, you go back to the start of this game. GOAT jumped out early, a quick 2-0 lead. They were able to maintain that cushion throughout the night. They built it to as large as 4 in the second half before Denver put together that late assault. But in the end, it's the speed, the highlight ability of Remy Ojo. And Toronto is into the finals. 14-12, they knock out Johnny Bravo. Back with more from Westchester after this. The 2015 U.S. Open Ultimate Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer for Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, the sport of ultimates premier competitive experience, and by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play ultimate in your area, visit usaultimate.org. The championship field is set, and it will be GOAT from Toronto. A thrilling 14-12 win. They knock off the top seed from Denver and Johnny Bravo. And one of the big reasons for their success tonight, the play of Isaiah Massick-Kelly. He joins us. And Isaiah, congratulations. What a finish there. Kind of take us through that last sequence as you fought off one last push, one last surge from Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, it was really exciting. They really pushed back in that second half, forced us to do awkward throws and everything. But we just went back to using our legs and running really hard and just using our matchups properly. And that's what did it. It wasn't one player, it was the whole team.
You guys are up 11-7, and they tie it up 12-12. I think Shooter called a timeout at some point during that Bravo rally. What was the conversation like in the huddle?
Just to go back to our basics, 1 point at a time, one team at a time, one game at a time. We really needed to focus just on each play, each individual throw and everything. Started to force things, and they pushed us into awkward situations.
You're missing a team picture, Isaiah. We'll get you in that in a little bit. Remy Ojo, he has improved as an ultimate player. He's always been a freak athlete, but we're starting to see what kind of ceiling does this kid have?
Once he could really throw, you know, he's going to be so dangerous. He's only been playing for a few years, and he's an athletic beast, like you said. And once he gets comfortable holding that disc, I'm so happy he's on our team and not the others.
What do you want to say to all your teammates who didn't make the trip down here to Cincinnati?
Missed you guys. We had some tough games, tough battles. Could have used the help, but, you know, we did it for them.
And tomorrow, Revolver, you guys have played them a lot. You've had some success. They've also beaten you pretty good. What are your thoughts about playing them tomorrow?
I'm excited to get another chance. You know, we always play a really good game. Every point's always a grind with them. It can usually go either way. They're a very disciplined and experienced team, so it's always fun to play them and give us a challenge.
Isaiah, great job. Go enjoy it.
Thanks, man. Have
Isaiah Massick-Kelly here from GOAT. It is time now for the Discraft Ultrastar play of the game. Remy Ojo started it. He finished it as well.
This was the very first point. And into the end zone, he broke away. He was wide open here, no contest, as Hochhalter hit Ojo. We'll see that combination again. Fast forward to the final point. 13-12, game to 14. They force a turn, send it deep, and Ojo outruns the Golden Boy. Mickle and Ojo were neck and neck, but Remy got there first. And the sheer enthusiasm inspiring Toronto into the finals for the first time at the U.S. Open.
Your thoughts real quickly tomorrow, previewing the men's final, Revolver and GOAT hooking up.
I think GOAT's going to need to play its best offensive game of the tournament because Revolver's not going to make a lot of mistakes. I think if GOAT plays its A game, it'll be a great game. But if Goat stumbles at all, Revolver will pounce quickly.
It's been a great day of Ultimate here. What a wonderful way to spend the 4th of July in Westchester. 3 finals are set for tomorrow. Another busy day as we wrap up the 2015 U.S. Open Ultimate Championships. For Evan Lepler, I'm Sean Kinney, saying so long from Lakota West High School in Westchester, Ohio. Your final score, Goat 14, Johnny Bravo 12. To watch this game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.